from the Sinister District and the Great Beyond. Good evening, everyone, everything, and all creatures of the night. I am Michael Ball, alongside Mr. Curbs. Tonight we cross the Goatman Bridge and uncover its mysteries. Stay right where you are. You're listening to the Sinister District. Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sinister District. I am Michael Paul, alongside Mr. Curbs, and our special guest today, Sam. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the infamous Goatman cryptid. He's seen in Maryland and Texas, and probably all over, quite frank. But I mean, this thing is creepy. What if you're in the woods and you just see a giant goat demon? I don't know what I would do personally. But our guest today may have had an experience in regards to this Goatman, so we're going to talk all about that. But how are you doing today, Curbs?
Doing all right. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm doing good, Curbs. Thank you for asking. And, let's get into this Goatman. So tell us about your story, Sam. How did this start? What is your experiences you've had with this Goatman? Your brother may have heard him. You were also on the Goatman Bridge, which is one of them is in Maryland. Apparently there's two. I wasn't familiar.
Oh, there's two Goatman bridges?
Well, so I recently found out actually like not that long ago that there's apparently a bridge in Texas. But to me, I didn't even know that Goatman was a thing in Texas until like a couple years ago. It's always been kind of a Maryland thing. Preface, I know nothing about any of the Texas rumors or legends or anything to do with that. That is way beyond my area of expertise. But I grew up about like 20 minutes from south of where the bridge is in Maryland. I know I mentioned earlier in the chat, but did you guys chance to look up the Maryland bridge that I mentioned?
Yes, it looks very spooky.
It's like an old metal bridge. So if you go, the south side of the bridge is a neighborhood called Davidsonville, and if you go to the north side of the bridge, and the bridge is like in an old back road, it turns into a one-car bridge. You got to take turns crossing it. But if you go to the north side, up the road 5 minutes, you're in like a city called Bowie, which is PG County, and Goatman. And so the south side where I was is Anne Arundel County, but Goatman's always been more of a PG County thing than an Anne Arundel County thing. But especially throughout high school, I have had many late night adventures, especially definitely once we got our licenses. That was kind of the ghost hunting spot for everybody that I went to high school with. Everybody's done it at least once.
I'm looking at pictures of like the Texas Goatman Bridge and like the Maryland Goatman Bridge, and they legit look like the same exact bridge, except one's gray, one's like orange. Like they look like almost exactly the same.
Yeah,
like it's like the same kind of infrastructure.
So now it's technically illegal to go back to where that bridge is. It's considered like a protected environment by the local government, and there's Jersey walls blocking off the road from where it like closes off a little before. But the Jersey walls are pretty close to the bridge. It is because there's some houses back there that are pretty close to it as well. But yeah, so I guess I'll start off with kind of like explaining like what I know about the origins, and that is a very long and deep story. I hope you guys have all night. If you can't tell, I'm lying. So I've heard many different stories about it, whether it's, and when I say many stories, I don't mean textbooks. I mean short 2-paragraph stories. Anything between, it's some sort of hell spawn that that walks the earth, similar in vein of like the Jersey Devil or the abominable snowman or the chupacabra, things of that nature. I've also heard that it was some scientist's experiment on its own child. What's the truth there? Who knows? I do know it goes all the way back to like the late 1800s, early 1900s. Some people say that it's like that it was some freak science experiment from like the late 1800s, early 1900s. However, the one thing that is common PG County lore to it, that, and I'll start off with my brother's story, but because that is the most Goatman related. And as I kind of get through telling you guys like my own experiences there, will have a tendency to get further away from being related to the Goatman. Because what's more so the big point of all this is Governor's Bridge in Maryland is just all around known as being a very haunted bridge.
Right.
So there is also a house in the, now Governor's Bridge is in the middle of the woods, right? But I've heard before many times that there is a house in the woods as well that some people have referred to as the Goatman house. Um Now when my brother was younger, he had been there and they had gone through the woods to see the house late at night. And he said when he got there, he had seen in what was like an open old style garage shed type of deal with like a very dim light on, some man from a distance that was like kind of hobbling and walking weird is the best way I can describe it. There was no other, well, the best way that I can describe what he described to me. There was not like, he didn't tell me anything, and he didn't see any kind of like furry legs or horns or anything like that. But like, not to be offensive, but the best way I can explain it, if you've ever seen the way it was described to me, if you like ever seen somebody with a clubbed foot, you know how they kind of get around and step weird, similar to that, right? Walking through this shed, let's call it, throwing these said he was like throwing these large bags across the shed, and it was like whatever it was filled with, like there wasn't a lot of like stiffness to it, it was more flaccid, um and kind of like tossing them around. So he said that while they were watching this, the man in the shed looked in their direction, so everybody that he was with took off running. And as they were running through the woods, they heard this very intense and like almost otherworldly, like screaming or some sort of yelling. And that was kind of it from there, but and not like a scream of somebody screaming for help, like some sort of animal cry.
That sounds horrifying. So where was he when he spotted this guy? Was this near the bridge or no?
Yes. So it
Oh,
was near the bridge, like if you keep going back, there's a lot of old roads in the areas on either side of the bridge, really close to it. All the houses are very far spread out. Um, so that's the best way I can explain it. You know, all the houses are like very spread out. They're kind of far apart. Everybody who lives now, Davidsonville is a big like upper class sort of area. So all the houses, they have their space. You know, you're not right next door to each other. It's not a suburban area where it's not like living, you know, in the like living in like the old country Hickville woods. It's but like because you can still like walk to your neighbor's house within less than 5 minutes per se, but the houses are also not like right next to each other, and a lot like everybody there, like anybody who owns a house back there, it's a lot of land, multiple acres. And the further back you go into the woods with the houses, the more land the people tend to have, and some of the houses back there, they have long driveways that lead all the way to the street, or that lead all the way into the woods surrounded by trees. Now, Ibn, I'm not going to sit here and act like like he didn't just stumble upon like some random old man's house who had just finished, like, who had just hunted a deer or something like that too. That very much could have been the case, but given the location and the old timey beat down house in the situation, there are a lot of people believe that is known as the Goat Man's house.
Did he get a good look, I guess, at like the physical appearance of this guy? Like did he have horns?
No, the description I gave you is essentially the description that I got.
I should, yeah, all right. I mean, it sounds like it could have been like maybe like an old man until like the screaming part, you know, like that just seems to it seems
Right.
unlikely that like, you know, they get caught by this old man and then it just so happens that an animal decides to growl at the exact same time.
From here on out, the stories only get weirder and more unexplained.
Now, what happened to your
Or
brother?
unexplainable. Oh, he's alive and well.
He's the one the
like-
goat man didn't hunt him down.
Like he's not, you know, he actually, funnily enough, he does live in Texas now.
So he's with the other goat man.
There you go.
Correct.
Well,
Star-crossed
Well-
lover goat man, you might say. Yeah.
he just keeps going to the goat man.
But yeah, that's kind of, and it's a very, like I said, it's a very like lackluster of a story with a lack of, you know, explanation, not clear, and it's not always the easiest thing, but and a lot of the stories went. That's kind of the thing when you get into these paranormal stuff, is that the more descriptive and the deeper it gets, it's the like, all right, buddy, there was just a raccoon in the attic.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like most of the stories we've had on here, you know, like they don't really have like I guess a normal explanation or like, you know, or too descriptive. I think that's just the case with most paranormal encounters.
Right. However, the next one is very weird, and this is a story that I've heard kind of get passed down. So now that same bridge is also, and every state has a so-called crybaby bridge, and that's what Governor's Bridge is known as, right? Is the you know, the woman threw her baby over the bridge because she couldn't raise it. So you go there late at night, you hear the sounds of a woman, or the sounds of a baby crying or some shit. I don't know. That's kind of the but like I'm sure you guys have heard of like a similar story.
Yeah.
Or local well, anyways, the reason I bring that up is because that is kind of what gets all the attraction, right? That is where the where everybody kind of knows about it on the other side of things, besides like forget about the goat man, forget about the well, anyways, I heard from, and this is kind of like an old high school story that gets like, but so as I was saying, my dad's friend knew someone's like uncle or something weird like that. It's very loose. So mind you, I'm going back 20 years ago when I heard this, but so basically the guy had taken his girlfriend there one night to go and test out the crybaby bridge thing to see if they could hear a baby crying. So they go up to the bridge, and what you're supposed to do is you pull over right before the bridge, you turn the lights off on the car, you kill the engine, and you sit there in silence. And eventually, now the real thing is that you're actually supposed to take the keys out of the car and put them on the roof, but I don't know anybody in their right mind who's actually going to do that. But so they kill the engine, they're sitting in the car in silence, and they're waiting, and they hear something knocking on the trunk of the car. And the guy, the boyfriend who's driving the car, gets out of the car and walks around it to take a look, walks around the car to see what's going on. And there's nothing there, right? So he gets back in the car, and they sit for a few more minutes to see what's going on. And this time they hear the knocking on the passenger side of the car. Well, the boyfriend gets out again and decides to walk around the car and see what's going on. And he sees not a person around. He doesn't see anybody, he doesn't hear anybody, he doesn't, like, there's nothing there. So at this point the girlfriend's sitting in the car, she's, I'm scared, I don't want to be here, let's go home. So he gets back in the car, they drive home. As they're driving home, they see a goat staring at them through the tree, like between the trees, and they keep driving. They don't stop, they don't do anything. And it's not like a goat man, it's not tall, but it's also very out of place, because trust me, if you're driving through that road, you have a 99% chance of not seeing a goat there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they start driving, and they leave, they go home, and when they get out of the car, there's scratches down the side of the guy's car that was not there before. And there is a hook hanging in the car door handle.
Like a hook?
What type of hook?
What kind
Like
of
a
hook we talking about?
like the way it was described to me is kind of like a pirate hand. God, why is that?
Yeah, that's how I was thinking.
Huh.
But yes, like a large
like
a large metal hook in the door handle.
Goat man pirate.
Yeah, right.
Where did Goatman get the hook?
Huh. So I guess he was scratching up the car with his hook, and he was on the side of the road there.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that is a very weird story.
Yeah, that is pretty fascinating. Especially, I guess, like the goat sitting by sitting by the trees part.
What is he doing there?
I feel like most of the I'm not sure if I'm wrong about this, but I feel like wild goats are probably like more of a rare thing because most of them seem to be like domesticated, right? Like, or most goats probably like on farms or something. Like, there's like I've never been outside wandering and I just see like a goat walking by and I'm like, that's normal.
Right.
Well, I guess the couple never heard the baby cries.
No.
They went looking for one urban legend and they got a different one.
What about this ghost girl you were talking about?
Okay, so that's where I'm going to next. I was gonna say real quick, I do have a friend that which is funny. So a group of my friends, the one night that I stayed home and didn't go, and actually my brother went this time too. They it was a group of them. They went with 2 cars. They did hear. Well, they told me that they heard the baby crying, and my friend's car actually came back a little scratched up as well.
No hook,
Ooh.
but there were scratches afterwards.
Now that's just strange.
Do you think there's a possibility that that could be like a separate thing that's like maybe not Goatman related, or?
Well, there is another story, one that I'm more inclined to believe, and that I've had personal experience with, and that I have spent years chasing down trying to see the full thing. So, where my knowledge of this, and this is a much less common, and I've spent many years scouring the internet trying to find more information on this, but it's very much a local Maryland. Like it's like a local, Anne Arundel County thing. It's like a local, like you don't, if you know about it, you know about it, and that's kind of it. Now it starts off like where I first found out about it was I was in middle school, and it's from my friend's stepdad who told me about it, who had said that I don't remember if it was like his brother or a friend of his or something, but he said that the guy was driving through the road that Governor's Bridge is on late at night, and there's a car in front of him that's kind of swerving and driving sporadically all over the road. And mind you, this is a very, if you go up all the way Governor's Bridge Road, it's a very windy road with a lot of sharp turns, so you can kind of lose sight of a car quickly, especially if they're driving fast. He said at some point the car disappeared, right? And when he had eventually made his way to the bridge, the car had actually driven off the bridge and was completely wrecked. So he peels out, and this was an older guy back when I was in middle school. So, I mean, my assumption is that this had to be like 70s, 80s, around there when this happened. So, lacking of cell phones because, they're just stupid. Um, anyways, so they peel out, they go to the local police station, they get a cop, they go back. There's nobody there. There's no car, there's no damage, nothing. Well, very like weird, and that's not something that you expect to hear a similar situation, right? But I'm in high school, and this girl that I'm friends with said she was driving around one year on 420. I'm guessing you can kind of imagine what they were doing. They're driving late at night on 420, right? So they get to the bridge, and on the side, having driven through the bridge in the water, is an older car very late at night. Although there's a family like of like a man, a woman, and some children standing around the car, all dressed in white, as they're driving through, staring at them. At my friend she was like a passenger in the car, and one of her other friends was driving. And they see this, and it's very late at night, and it's just very weird. So they get creeped out, and they peel out. So, me having heard that again another time, of course, I have to do what I have to do because I'm a professional ghost hunter here. I am I am as good as Zach Baggins. So I've gotta get to the bottom of this. Well, so it's kind of always the thing that like I said, it was the place that you go to late at night. So one night, me and my friends are driving through there late at night, and my friend who was driving the car at the time, he had a bit of a drug problem. So we're in his truck, he's driving, I'm in the front seat, with a couple of our friends are in the back seat. He's not paying attention to the road. He's kind of driving with his knee, and I'm being his eyes, so he can
pull something out real quick, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to go too much into detail there. But, and actually, I will say the guy is clean now. Good for him. He's got a kid and he's got a great life. Very happy with. Very proud of him for how far he's made it. But, anyways, so we had just, well, we had just crossed the bridge. We didn't see anything. So once we get over, my friend starts kind of steering with his knee and he's pulling something out of his pocket, lining up something and to do real quick, and I'll leave it at that. But you're driving maybe for like 2 minutes when you're heading from PG County to Anne Arundel County on the bridge, right? You're driving for maybe 2 minutes before you get to the first house once you cross the bridge. Well, we get to about right in front of the first house, and I yell at him because I see what looks like a little girl running in front of his truck. And he looks up and he sees her too. A little girl in a white dress.
Oh dear.
And we run right through her. We hit the girl and he slams on his brakes. And it felt like we had hit something, right? But it didn't feel like we had hit a person. I guess I say that like I know what it feels like to run over a person with a car. I don't. Let me clarify that so there's no questions there.
Just making sure.
No, but it doesn't feel like we ran over anything like big or hit something big. You know what I mean? And it felt like we must have run over like a large stick or something like that, like a bump or whatever. My friend slams on the brakes, but he does not stop in time. We run right through the girl, but he slams on his brakes, comes to a complete stop. Nobody else in the backseat of the truck even realizes or notices anything that happened. They're like confused and yelling at us as to like yelling at my friend who was driving as to why he just slammed on the brakes and stopped all of a sudden for no reason. And me and him are kind of both like did you go, what the hell did you, huh, who, when, I don't know. So all of us gets out the truck and we're walking around and we don't see anybody. We don't see a little girl, we don't see a body, we don't see a child, we don't see anything. And that's kind of it. Very strange. That was actually the last time that we went over the bridge before they closed it down. By car, that is. However, I do have one last story involving the car, or involving the bridge after they closed it down.
You mentioned like I guess like this like family in like a white dress. Like do you know if like there's any was there like an accident that happened involving like a family there? I mean, and then there was also the little girl in like a white dress. Like, was there like in like maybe are there like ghosts or something? Like, I
Well,
guess
and
like
that's
area.
and that's what I don't know. I don't have any answers to that one. I've done my research on the internet. Um, Obviously there have been car accidents on the bridge in the past, but I've never heard of, well, I guess I've never been able to find a specific like news article or story about a family that just happened to drive off the bridge. That's kind of and that's kind of where I'm at with it, but it is definitely a very weird sort of ghost story.
But you think this is the same? This is the crybaby. This is the that's related to the crybaby, or
No, not at all. Because when you go down the rabbit hole of the crybaby bridge thing, just about every state has a specific crybaby bridge, and it's all the same story. So that's kind of one that I'm a little more like questionable on.
Unless there's just a bunch of women just throwing their babies off.
You're right. You know, all the women, they all threw their babies on it over the bridge because, you know, too scared of that coat hanger abortion.
Forgot what I was gonna say.
What you were gonna say, Curbs, is why is this on a bridge? Why are all these appearances on a bridge?
Guess yeah. Let's make that my question.
Because, Curbs, it's a portal to the other dimension. The other side is evil. I
What?
mean, it's a transitional space, don't you think?
My answer was a lot simpler.
All right, what's your answer? Because his answer's confusing me.
I don't know, man. I'm not your mom.
All right. That is weird though that they all take place on bridges. Just I
Yeah,
guess
I
it's
So-
just
I think that
most
there's some
accidents
sort of
happen.
spiritual connection with bridges with another world.
Local legend, if you guys ever go down a very boring rabbit hole about these 7 hills, it's like apparently if you go over these 7 hills at super fast speed or something, you'll die. But it's like a whole weird thing that I've heard of before.
On the next episode.
Another intro.
Stay tuned.
right.
Warning the guy that died on there.
If you'd like to talk to Michael Paul or Mr. Curbs, shoot an email to the Sinister District at gmail.com. That's the Sinister District at gmail.com. You can also join the Sinister District Discord server in the description. This is the Sinister District.
Anyways, so my last story for you on the Governor's Bridge, Goatman Bridge, a very weird one. So one night, me and my brother and 2 of our friends, we decided to go walking through after they had closed it down. We were bored one night, and I think I was like 18 or 19 at the time. We were had nothing else to do, so we drive up to the gate, and we kind of park off to the side where you can't really see the car, or we drive up to the the Jersey wall where you can't he pulls off to my friend who's driving pulls off to the side where you can't really see the car. We all hop out and we jump over the this like Jersey barrier and we start walking back. And you got to walk maybe like a mile to get to the bridge. And so we're just kind of using the flashlights from our phones, see what we can see. We're just messing around, screwing around. We're like, something scary happened, anything. Well, my friend who drove, he was constantly like, and he's not one for the scary, for the paranormal. So he's the entire time, he's like, all right, guys, like we've been here long enough, let's go. Like my car back there, I don't want to get towed. And like so my other friend who was with us, he's like, kind of starts egging everybody on, right? He's like yelling, like ghosts, come and show yourself, like do something creepy. If you're really there, come get me, spooky ghosties, come out and play. He's just like saying shit to kind of egg on the situation, play around, try and push everybody out there.
Rage baiting.
Yeah, exactly. He's rage baiting the goat man. Well, and he's doing this when we're walking back, right? And we get maybe like a quarter of the way back to about halfway back to the car. And so our buddy who drove, he starts like getting really ticked off at the guy who's like messing around. And he starts like, at first he's like stop, don't do that. Like can you just shut up, please? Like you're kind of freaking me out. And he was like, no, don't tell me. So they get mad at each other, right? And they start going at it and getting into an argument. And me and my brother, we're trying to break them up. We're both of them like, stop, just like shut up. You don't need to be doing that, dude. He's freaked out enough. enough, nothing's happening. And so me and my brother both notice it first. And we're both like, we hear something off in the distance behind us from the direction towards the bridge. And we're both just kind of like, guys, like, shut up, like, stop talking. What is that? What is that? And so we turn around, right? And we start, and like, they're still fighting. And we're like, me and my brother start walking back towards the direction of the bridge. Not like far away, like towards the bridge. We're just kind of like taking like baby steps towards it because we hear something weird and it's very faint, but it's not like, it's not wind, it's not the trees, it's not. And all of a sudden, we just hear the sounds of a car engine, of somebody like just slamming down on the gas pedal, of an engine just roaring loud as hell directly behind us. And there's Jersey walls on either side completely blocking off the road. No cars can get back there, you know? So we hear this and we're all just like, all right, like, time to run, like, gotta make a mad dash for the car, you know what I mean? Because at that point, what do you do? And so we get back to the car, we jump over the Jersey walls, and we're all like kind of trying to catch our breath, and at this point we're like laughing, whatever. And right then we just hear this blood curdling scream that lasts for like a few seconds. And at that point we decided not to go back there because, you know, the safety of a car is much more comforting. So we hop in the car and we get out of there, and that was kind of it.
Wow.
Now, you said your brother was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did he at all like did the scream sound like at all similar to the scream he heard before, like the first story, or did he never say that?
Never really specified, although this scream sounded more like human.
I mean, do you have any possible explanations on what it could have done?
No, I mean, listen, if the Jersey walls weren't up there, I would have been the first person to be like, hey, let's like drive back there and see what's going on, because if it is something dangerous, we have the safety of a car. But being on our feet, you know, with no protection, it's kind of not really something I'm down to go exploring on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It sounded very like human, but it sounded like, I don't know, like it sounded like terrifying. I don't really know how to put it or explain it, but you know, the person who it came from was definitely not at Disneyland. Put it to you this way, right? We heard the car, the engine roaring, and it sounded very close to us. We were about a half a mile away from our car, meaning that the bridge was a half a mile behind us in the other direction. And then on another mile roughly down the road is where the other Jersey wall is, separating the road to get into, if that paints a picture for you. Now the car sounded like it was extremely close. Like it had to be, you know, like somewhere near the bridge, to the point a lot closer than it should have been able to get past, being where the Jersey walls were.
Now, we really think this is the Goat Man, right? I mean, there's no really evidence that it is. I mean, it's the Goat Man Bridge, or they think it is. But the only thing is really that other cry that maybe it could be the goat man. I mean, who knows? There's not like fur or anything we saw, right?
No, I mean, at that point, we were kind of just, once we heard the car, we took off running, and we were, there wasn't any, like, there was no look back, there was no, like, try and figure it out investigation at that point. It was just run.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, people tend to see glowing eyes when they see the goat man, or sometimes just near the bridge. Did you ever have any of those situations?
Never once. And I actually went back a few years later, but never jumped the Jersey Wall. I was about 21 or 22, and I had started dating this girl, so I was trying to, I think I was like 21, and I was trying to, kind of show off to her, get her scared a little bit, and I took her there, but she wouldn't go back with me, and much as I like to act tough, I'm a scaredy cat deep down, so I'm not jumping the Jersey Wall by myself and walking back there alone. Nothing really happened that time, but I've never once, even then, seen the glowing eyes or anything. One of those pictures of the Governor's Bridge, though, if you look it up, with all the picture with all the like moss and the vines growing around the metal bridge, that picture is actually recent, like within the last year or so. So, if there's ever a time to go and see the Goat Man, now's probably it, because I'd imagine there haven't been many people walking back there in years.
Maybe I'll head over there. I gotta
Yeah,
say
take
that
a fun little trip.
the ghost girl situation is actually very it's actually a very cool thing. She just disappeared after you hit her, right?
Yep.
Especially since they're all wearing white. Like, doesn't that like symbolize like death or something like that? Wearing
Oh,
white
yeah.
symbolizes something.
But
I
I
forget-
mean,
I think
you
I
saw it with your own eyes. You know it was a ghost. You know it was a girl, and you felt it.
It was clear as day. I definitely knew, it wasn't like and there was nothing there. And I mean, you could have made the argument it was so fast and it was late at night, like I just wanted to see something, but we also know that we hit something. There was a bump there. The truck bounced like a little bit, and there was no sticks in the road. There was no animal. Like, we didn't hit like a squirrel or something like that. So it's very like all around strange.
Wow.
And that is like, kind of some of the fun with this. And I don't mean to be that much of a downer, but you kind of have to look at the ancient Romans, like or the philosophers. You look at like Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, and they had said that I think it was Plato who had written about Atlantis, and the whole big thing with that is that his apprentice had said that Atlantis wasn't real. Plato was just very big on the on telling epic stories on a grand scale and making them as believable as possible. So kind of when you get into the fun of it all, it's like the deeper you dig into it, the more unrealistic it starts to feel. Now, I definitely believe that there are some other worldly things out there, because if you look at if you really go deep into the stories of the Jersey Devil, there are people that believe that in New Jersey in the 70s that it was shot down out of the sky. If you ever want a fun like rabbit hole to go down, a very interesting story is Spring-Heeled Jack, which there's storybooks about him, and they're like very much so Penny Dreadfuls, where they say that it wasn't real, it was made up for like the theatrics of it all. But
I think I've heard
it
of that.
happened.
That's like in London or England, right?
Yes, so Spring-Heeled Jack, not to be confused with Jack the Ripper, was was a demonic looking man that spit blue flames and wore a white leotard and could he could leap over the tallest buildings. Now, they say that he was made up for the stories, but also there are people that actually saw him, and there were women who were killed and ripped apart in the middle of the streets. So, on one hand, you can say, hey, there's, it's just urban legend, but then on the other side, these legends have to come from somewhere.
Yeah, I think the reason why it probably sounds like usually stories like this sound pretty unrealistic is I think it's sort of just like it's part of like the unexplainable, and usually things with an explanation have like reason, but this I feel like this is sort of like unexplainable probably to like any kind of science or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's two bridges, the fact that there's these two in different states, it's very strange.
Yeah.
But apparently, the one that you're at is worse. Apparently.
I think I think that was the first one. I honestly haven't heard like anybody. Like I remember there was like a BuzzFeed video where they went to like the Texas Goatman Bridge, and they legit like they were kind of just like egging it on, like they were like, like come after us, Goatman. They were there for like 40 minutes and nothing happened, and they left, and they were like, Goatman's not real.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's too much activity at the Texas one. That guy might be dormant, but
Well, apparently he just shows
There-
up and he doesn't do anything. But the one in this case, he scratches the cars. He attacks people. Maybe he's more violent.
it's a scream.
It's more demonic.
What are the odds that you guys heard the stream after your friend was taunting him?
Right. Well, that's kind of like, that's just the one thing you don't do, right? Like, we've all seen Paranormal Activity. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's like rule number one. Don't taunt. Don't taunt the ghost.
That's what I would do, though.
Yeah, because you're an idiot. You're always like we should go to a Skinwalker Ranch and camp there. No.
Somebody
No, we
invited
shouldn't.
us.
That's an awful.
Shout out to
That's
the
an
person who invited me to your Skinwalker Ranch. I will get back to you.
Dude, you come to me with like you call me and you're like, dude, I just found an amazing opportunity for us. Some guy invited us to stay at his Skinwalker Ranch. I'm like, have you seen a single fucking horror movie?
Okay.
You have to realize like that's the worst idea of all time.
Okay, so here's one for you, and I will. So I recently I was at Deep Creek, right, for a bachelor's party, and my friend who was getting married had one of his all of his friends there, so I was kind of the odd one out in the group because I didn't know the rest of his. We had become close because we both worked together. This was my first time meeting a couple of his friends because I didn't grow up with all of them. They all went to high school together, grew up together. I'm not from the same area as them. Well, anyways, so we go out to Deep Creek. And are either of you guys familiar with that vacation spot in Maryland?
Not really. No.
No.
So Deep Creek in Maryland, it is a big lake, and there's a lot of cabins there. And if you go further, then you're in West Virginia. Well, it is late at night, and this guy is making me listen to Skinwalker Ranch while we are in the middle of the woods in a log cabin.
Oh, I've done that.
No, bro. So mind you, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I must look like a goddamn psychopath because our one friend is sleeping on the couch, and I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up, it's like 3 in the morning, and I feel like there's eyes watching all over me and all around the place. And it's just me having been in and out of sleep, unable to sleep because I'm listening to these people talk about skinwalkers. That's creeping me out, okay? Am I allowed to feel that way? Hell yeah. Well, so I, in a panic, in a sweat, drenched in sweat, you would have thought I jumped in the lake. I am running all through this house, making sure all the doors and windows are locked. And the one guy who's sleeping on the couch gets up because I'm just being loud at this point. I don't even care. And he's like, and I scare the piss out of him. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Because I'm just yanking on door handles, going, "Locked, next." Another Maryland one called the Witch's Grave, right? Back during the Salem witch trials, there was a known instance in Annapolis, Maryland. And actually, what's really funny is there's a Boys and Girls Rec Club around there. And like that the witch's grave is in the backyard of. Well, it's like right in front of like a neighborhood area, right? It's surrounded by all these trees. Well, when you're facing it, you go to the right, you go right past the tennis court and the baseball field, and you go to where the line of trees kind of wraps out towards the street. You kind of got to like walk through it. You walk a couple feet into the woods, right? And there's just a giant hole in the ground, a perfect square that's lined with some bricks that are falling out. I'm with, again, my brother, my friend who is my friend who was there the night we walked on the bridge, who's very just much wants to test the ghost, right? Now, the story about the witch's grave is that this woman was kidnapping children and they called her a witch. So they killed her, right? That's what happens in the Salem witch trials. Well, 3 days later, where they buried her, the grave was ripped open, the coffin and her body gone. So we're just kind of standing around the grave, flashing our lights. Only the three of us went back there. Everybody else, we were with another one, like couple of our friends, and who like it was 2 guys and 2 girls who had stayed back, right? So me, my brother, and my friend who went in, we're like standing in there, and my friend who's very much like testing all of this stuff, he's like, I gotta take a piss. That's what he says. So he jumps into the grave, this like roughly 4.5, 5 foot deep hole in the ground, and starts taking a piss in it. And obviously, it's not what you do to a place known as the Witch's Grave.
I feel like it's a good way to get cursed. That's a good way to get.
Come on.
So we're kind of looking around, and all 3 of us see this, right? And we're kind of like looking around, and we look up, and hanging from the trees well above our head, we see what looks like the feet of like human feet, not like severed feet. Like all we could see was the feet and the start of their legs hanging well above us in the trees. Like, and there was a ton of them. And then, so we turn around, and like I just hear my brother go, like I see him point and go, "What the fuck is that?" And there's the face of a woman staring at us through the tree line, and we ran.
I think it's the first time the witch encountered someone peeing on her.
Right. Like, probably like, these assholes. I'm just trying to rest in peace here. I got one last weird thing for you, and then we can really wrap it up if you guys would like. Now, this is less of a story and more of a thing that I saw one time clear as day. I don't know if this was a cryptid or if this was just a very crazy person. I was about 5 or 6 years old when it happened, but I woke up in the middle of the night and I was thirsty, so I get up, and my bedroom and my kitchen were on the second floor of the house. We had a backyard. My kitchen and the kitchen sink and the window faced the backyard. Like you could see into the house from my back deck through the window, right? Because the window, like right. The back deck was up against. I get up there and I go to get a drink of water, except when I walk into the kitchen and I turn the light on, I see a man staring into the window from me. And if you guys ever hear about anything with this description, I would love to hear about it, because this is one that haunts me to this day because I have no explanation. But a man staring in the window at me with a pale face, long curly black hair, and a very blood red top hat and like tuxedo, like matching red, and a very large grin. Like, and when I say just staring in the window at me, directly into me, like as if he knew I was gonna walk in there. And when I say that, like, this man was staring into the windows of my soul, and when I say like a large grin, like I mean abnormally large, to the point of where the only other person that could make a grin that big is Jim Carrey himself. And so I'm so scared because, not because I'm like, because it's scary, but because I was a fucking 5-year-old. So in the kitchen, right, when you walk into it, the kitchen was a square. Against the wall with the window is the sink. To the left of that, against the wall is the fridge, and then closer to me is the pantry. The fridge kind of stuck out from the pantry just enough for me to try to hide behind the fridge where he can't see me. Now, I hid from there for maybe 5 minutes. However, when I had finally moved, as though it only felt like 5 minutes, an hour had passed. And when I had finally moved, he was gone. I went and I woke up my mom and dad. My dad didn't believe me, but got up either way, turned on the lights, looked through the back window, went downstairs to look through the back door to see. There was nobody there. There was no sign of a person. The gate was not open. There was no footprints, no sign of entry, nothing. And one last creepy thing to kind of seal all this away and really tell you, when I was a kid, I had a German Shepherd that would follow me anywhere. He slept at the foot of my bed every single night. He would, if I woke up in the middle of the night to get a drink, he was coming with me.
Mm-hmm.
That one night, he would not leave my bedroom.
Oh.
When I got up to like go and get a drink of water, and this was before I saw the person. Like, so when I had gotten up to get a drink of water, and I was trying to get my dog to come with me because I was a scared kid, you know, I wanted my dog with me, and he wouldn't go. And after fighting with him for a minute, I was like, you know what, fine, screw you, man, I'm going by myself because I'm brave and tough. And
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Man's best friend.
right.
Nah, man, you got this.
He said, you on your own, dog. But yeah, just very weird. And you know, it's funny because to this day, and I've told people that story and they're like, that's not real, but
That's
like,
creepy,
you know,
man.
it was a dream. This man's face is burned into my brain. I can I can see this face as clear as day.
That is really great. There's just something about a grin. There's something about like just like I just feel like almost like smiling is more scary, right? Because it's like what you so happy about. I just find it
You guys-
fascinating that he's wearing like almost like red, right? Like usually
Yeah.
I feel like usually when I hear stories like this, it's always black. It's
Well,
always black.
and it was very like an old style, like from what I can see now, from what I like remember and what I like know now, it was a very like old style like tuxedo. Like he didn't have like the neck scarf, but it was like a very like, it's not something that I would be caught wearing at 3 in the morning if I were breaking into somebody's house doing some creepy shit.
Let me put on my old tuxedo.
And a red top hat, long black curly hair, and pale white skin, like porcelain. I've heard vampire before, but I don't know how much I believe in actual vampires, so like I don't really at all, you know. But
yeah, I was somewhat thinking that because the pale skin.
yeah.
But you would have seen the teeth with his he was grinning, right? You would have seen the teeth.
Well,
Big
that's the
old
thing
fangs.
is that like I mean the teeth, like it wasn't like big fangs, but like Like, I definitely remember them looking sharp, but I don't really remember it that, like, I didn't really focus on teeth, you know what I mean? I focused on this creepy man
Yeah.
smiling at me, and I was kind of like,
Yeah.
I like, Ralph from The Simpsons, I'm in danger.
Well, that just about does it, folks. This is Sam. He has so many cool experiences. This is an awesome discussion here. So,
Thank you, everybody. You can't see me, but I am doing a bow.
I love the Ghost Girl especially, and the whole Goatman Bridge. It's just so mysterious, really. So, what do you guys think it is? Comment down below, and if you have any info on the guy he saw too, let us know. Send us an email. Curbs, what do you think this is?
Probably like a demon or something.
You don't think it's a Goatman, huh?
Well, no, I think the goat man is like a kind of demon. Like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like goats are just so frequently associated with like satanical stuff that I feel like it is sort of like a demon of some sort.
Yeah, I think
Or
it's
like
a
maybe
demon,
like a
man.
spirit or something like that.
The bridge is getting me. I mean, it's got to be a pathway.
The fact that it's like tied to like one bridge makes me think it's maybe almost like an evil spirit or something. That's like, just tied to that one area.
Definitely, yeah. All right. Well, any final words from you, Sam?
No, keep the paranormal stuff alive, you know? We don't have Paranormal Activity as a movie anymore, so we should definitely do something about it.
Aren't they making like an 8th one or something?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, from the Sinister District and the great beyond, thank you all for listening. And remember, bridges don't just connect land, but sometimes they connect what's waiting on the other side. Good night.